Hi folks, let's continue with the forms of government for municipalities. The following video will only be explained for the benefit of the town of Lyman citizen. It is being said that if you are not a Lyman citizen, it may not be applicable to you. This is done to make it a practical practice for the citizen in a true life application. As some points may vary from municipality, town, and even county and state, we need to make sure that that is clear. In South Carolina, there are three types of form of government when it comes to the town, city, or municipality. This came as a result of the Home Rule Act of 1975, which we will discuss in more detail later. Here they are, the three forms. The first one is mayor-council, which is also known as strong mayor, and it's described in detail in Title 5, Chapter 9 of the South Carolina Code. Then there is the council, which is weak mayor, and that's described in detail in Title 5, Chapter 11 of the South Carolina Code. The council manager described in detail in Title 5, Chapter 13 of the South Carolina Code. The town of Lyman is a council form of government, or weak mayor. The mayor is weak because all of the town authority is vested into the entirety of the town council. That will be the brief summary of what it is. But let me take some time to explain from the actual South Carolina Code. Section 5.11.10 talks about the applicability of Chapter 7. And it states, except as specifically provided for in this chapter, the structure, organization, power, duties, functions, and responsibilities of municipal government under the council form shall be as prescribed in Chapter 7. And then the section that's titled Structure of Council Form of Government, Election of Mayor and Members of Council. It states, under the council form of government, there shall be a municipal council composed of 5, 7, or 9 members, including the mayor. In the town of Lyman, we have a total of 7 council seats, including the mayor, and each must be filled with a person. That can be changed by 9 by ordinance and majority vote. The mayor and members of the council shall be elected in accordance with Chapter 15 of Title 5, which indicates that the seats are on a rotational level to assure continuity of government and a quorum in the event of a tie. Yet in the event of a resignation or removal from office, the seat will be made available and a special election must be held to fill that seat. Section 5.11.30 speaks about legislative and administrative powers of municipality vested in municipal council. It states that all legislative and administrative powers of the municipality and the determination of all matters of policy shall be vested in the municipal council. Each member of council, including the mayor, shall have one singular vote. Each vote is counted for every new ordinance, every new motion, and referendum put into place. A majority vote will enact legislation accordingly. For us, a majority vote of 7, it would be 4. And then there is another section that gives the council the power to create departments, agencies, etc., to fulfill the role of council. And it states the following. The council may establish municipal departments, offices, or agencies in addition to those created by chapters 1 through 17 and may prescribe the functions of all departments. Don't worry about it, we're not going to go through every single chapter. The council may hire an administrator to assist the council. All departments, offices, and agencies may be administered by an officer appointed by and subject to the direction and supervision of the council. The municipal council shall adopt annually, prior to the beginning of the fiscal year, operating and capital budgets for the operation of city government, and shall in such budgets identify the sources of anticipated revenue to include taxes necessary to meet the financial requirements of the budgets adopted. The council shall further provide for the levy and collection of taxes necessary to meet all budget requirements except as provided for by other revenue sources. The 1975 Home Rule Act provided for 3 forms of city government. We talked about it earlier. The weak mayor, the strong mayor, and council manager. 4 forms of county government. There's the council supervisor, the council administrator, and council manager. We'll focus this discussion on the city government or municipality portion of the Home Rule Act, passed by the South Carolina General Assembly to implement the revised Article 8 of the state constitution adopted in 1973 and dealing with local government. As amended, Article 8 conferred home rule on all South Carolina cities and counties and directed the General Assembly to establish a standardized form of city and county government. Home rule began as a national movement in the late 1800s. It challenged an established doctrine known as Dillon's Rule, which stated that local governments have only those powers specifically delegated to them by the state and are creatures of the state. This limited the hands or the operation of the local government based on what the privy of the state wanted to do with that particular local municipality. And so, in essence, what occurred was that the state officials were governing a local municipality that, one, they probably never resided in, and secondly, didn't really have much interest over them, because if you resided in one municipality, doesn't mean you have interest in the other municipality neighboring. So prior to home rule in South Carolina, the General Assembly exercised nearly total control over local governments. Legislative delegations made local policy as well as state policy, including budgetary ordinances and accountability, so they decided where the towns can spend their money and not spend their money. The Home Rule Act did not, however, explicitly give counties and cities the authority to decide what to tax. Consequently, in the 1993 case of Williams versus Town of Hilton Head, the state Supreme Court interpreted the law as granting that authority. So the decision touched off a dispute with the General Assembly of South Carolina, which worked to reassert its prerogative as the final authority regarding local government powers. In 1997, the Assembly passed the Fiscal Authority Act, which restricted the fiscal autonomy of cities and counties. Another great result, in the case of Lyman and some other towns, that came from the Home Rule Act in South Carolina is that it made town-level elections non-partisan. This is one of my favorites. So how is this a great result? In a very divided society that we are in right now due to national elections and the two standard parties that have overcome our federal system and even state system in some cases, it opens the door for town to county dialogue. In the example of New York, municipality elections are very, very partisan. This holds the hands tied for a candidate that is boots to ground, being able to talk to somebody in the state assembly because of their party affiliation. This limits state to town collaboration and county to town collaboration at the onset of even just the discussion. In the case of Lyman, it being nonpartisan allows the elected official to speak with the county council and state assembly regardless of their party affiliation. It opens the door ever so slightly for healthy dialogue. As well, because it is nonpartisan, the election is not won by the one with the largest financial support from their party. It makes the election an even playing field for the local town candidate. For the county and state assembly, it affords them the ability to speak with the towns and get feedback to allow governance to run upstream and not only downstream, to create greater opportunities as the town representative with the boots on the ground can effectively dialogue and share needs of the town he or she represents and resides in.